Imagine a dark, sprawling city at midnight, rain pouring down, reflecting off these massive glass skyscrapers. And high above, huge neon signs pierce the fog. They read things like log in with Apple, sign in with GitHub, and the biggest one of all, continue with Google. Now, this isn't just some cyberpunk movie set, right? This is the actual reality of our digital lives. Every single day, you stand at the gates of these digital cities, the apps and services you use, and you ask to enter. But behind that really simple request lies a hidden, deeply complex, almost magical world of cryptography and secret alliances. So today, in this explainer, we're pulling back the curtain. We're going to show you the invisible machinery of digital trust. You click one button, and suddenly a global chain reaction begins. Thousands of servers just wake up. Cryptographic signatures are forged, secret treaties are invoked, entire galaxies of mathematical handshakes are happening all across the globe. And all of this goes down in the dark, completely invisible to you in less than 2 seconds. This is the story of that exact chain reaction. I mean, just contrast this elegant setup with the absolute nightmare we used to face. Imagine if every single app you ever visited demanded a totally new username, a complex password, your phone number, an OTP, your mother's maiden name. It was chaos. People would reuse passwords, forget them constantly, and hackers, well, they had a field day. But look at the alternative we have now. Instead of handing your fragile credentials to thousands of tiny, vulnerable apps, you trust an ancient, heavily fortified digital kingdom. You literally let Google or Apple or Microsoft vouch for you. Now, this entire system runs on something called OAuth 2.0. Think of this as a secret diplomatic treaty between kingdoms. Long before you even arrived at the gates of an app, say Spotify or Notion, a covert agreement was already signed in the shadows. The app basically realized, hey, I can't protect your passwords myself, so it went over to the kingdom of Google and said, look, if I send someone to you, can you verify exactly who they are and then send them back? And when they sign this treaty, Google hands the app 2 very specific artifacts so they can always recognize each other. The first is the client ID. This is the app's public identity, kind of like a flag it flies for everyone to see. The second, though, is the client's secret. And this is a highly guarded, hidden password that never, ever leaves the app's deepest vaults. Google writes all of this down into its trusted registry. And honestly, this secret bond is the absolute foundation of everything that comes next. So what actually happens when you finally click that Continue with Google button? Well, the app doesn't ask for your password. Instead, it acts as a messenger. It essentially hands you a destination, a temporary mission code, and a sealed envelope, and tells you, take this straight to Google. Let them verify you. Instantly, your browser gets redirected to the Google Kingdom, carrying this hidden request that contains the app's public client ID and the exact location it needs you returned to. But wait, let's just pause for a second. You are flying across the open internet, which is a vast, treacherous, spy-filled wasteland. And you're carrying extremely sensitive instructions between 2 massive kingdoms. So, how do hackers not just reach out, intercept your connection, and steal every single thing you're carrying? The answer to that is the first real twist of our journey, because you aren't just walking out there in the open. The very moment you leave, you enter an armored, totally invisible encrypted tunnel. This is HTTPS powered by TLS encryption. I want you to picture it like a tunnel made of bulletproof glass, or maybe a military-grade encrypted radio channel. Even if a spy somehow intercepts the traffic, all they're going to see is absolute randomized garbage. There is no way they can see your mission. Now watch how this builds into something truly mind-bending. Because how do your browser and Google mathematically build this bulletproof tunnel if they've literally never met? Well, it relies on a public key and a private key. Imagine the public key is like thousands of open padlocks that Google just hands out to anyone in the world. But the private key, that is the single secret master key that never leaves Google's most secure vault. If you lock your message with Google's open padlock, only Google's secret master key has the power to open it. Okay, so the handshake begins. First, your browser arrives and basically says, "Hello, Google, can we talk securely?" Google replies, "Yes, absolutely. Here's my official certificate, which contains my public padlock." Then your browser takes that padlock, generates a brand new, highly secret temporary session key, locks it securely inside Google's padlock, and sends it right back. And remember, only Google can unlock it. So suddenly, these 2 complete strangers mathematically share a secret key that no spy could ever decipher. Just like that, the armored tunnel is online. But here's a thought. How do you actually know the entity on the other side is really Google and not just some hacker wearing a mask? This is where we uncover another brilliant layer of trust. Long before you even bought your phone or your laptop, these trusted verifiers called certificate authorities, names like DigiCert or Let's Encrypt, were hard-coded straight into your device's memory. Your phone looks at Google's certificate and asks, hey, did one of my trusted authorities actually sign this? If yes, you proceed. If not, well, that's when you get that terrifying bright red warning screen. But let's push the paranoia just a bit further. Okay, you've built the tunnel, you share the secret session key. But what happens if a truly brilliant hacker breaches Google's servers tomorrow and manages to steal that master key? Could they theoretically go back in time, decrypt the tunnel, and read everything you did today? Thankfully, the answer is no. And that is thanks to this incredibly cool Hollywood-level defense mechanism called perfect forward secrecy. You see, that temporary session key your browser generated? It is mathematically destroyed the exact moment your conversation ends. So even if the master key gets stolen tomorrow, yesterday's conversations remain locked securely in the past, safe forever. It's basically a self-destructing cryptographic ghost. So now, safe inside this impenetrable tunnel, you finally arrive at Google. You log in, and then the ancient kingdom turns to you and asks for your explicit permission. It asks, do you allow this app to know your name, your email, and your profile photo? You are in total control here. The app is only going to get exactly what you consent to share, nothing more. Now we arrive at one of the absolutely smartest parts of this entire operation. You click yes, but Google doesn't just hand your sensitive personal data right over to your browser to carry back. Why? Well, because the browser can be a pretty dangerous place, honestly. It's filled with rogue extensions and JavaScript malware. So instead, Google hands your browser an authorization code. Think of it as a short-lived, 30-second temporary claim ticket. It's completely worthless to anyone else. Google essentially tells you, run back to the app and tell them to bring this ticket straight to my back door. So you race back to the app holding this claim ticket. The app takes it from you and immediately initiates a covert back-channel communication. Deep in the background, totally invisible to you and any lurking hackers, the app's secure backend server talks directly to Google's server. The app presents that 30-second claim ticket, along with its highly guarded client secret, definitively proving its true identity. Google verifies the secret, accepts the ticket, and finally reaches deep into its vault and hands the app server the real prizes, the tokens. First up is the access token. This is your temporary VIP pass that lets the app fetch things like your profile photo. Next is the ID token. This is your actual verified digital passport. And sometimes you'll also get a refresh token. That one is a silent master key that lets the app renew your access in the background so you aren't forced to log in every single time you open the app. Let's take a closer look at the anatomy of this digital passport, which is officially known as a JSON Web Token, or JWT for short. It's made up of 3 parts. The header tells the app exactly what type of passport it's looking at. The payload contains your actual details, like your name and your verified email. But the third part, that is the true masterpiece, the signature. Google mathematically locks this entire passport using its secret private key. This signature acts as the ultimate tamper trap. Let's say a hacker intercepts this passport and tries to get clever, changing the payload from role normal user to role super admin. The exact millisecond they change a single letter, that mathematical signature violently breaks. When the app checks the passport using Google's public key, that tiny mismatch triggers an immediate alarm. Boom, access denied. And here we are. This is the biggest revelation of our entire journey. You just logged into Spotify or Notion using your Google account. But Spotify never saw your password. The app never saw your recovery email. It never saw your OTP. It literally only received mathematically verified, highly secure temporary tokens. The kingdom of Google protected your deepest secrets, all while perfectly verifying your identity to the app. Now, even with all of this incredible security in place, the invisible war continues every day. Hackers build fake login pages, right? But they get beaten by our armored HTTPS tunnel and strict domain checks. They try to steal tokens, but they're beaten by the fact that those tokens expire in mere minutes. They even try to record your login and replay it later to trick the system, but they are beaten by this invisible hero called the state parameter. It's a random, secret code generated at the very start of your journey that absolutely must match perfectly at the very end. And what if a hacker somehow manages to steal your password directly? That's when we deploy the ultimate fortress, multi-factor authentication. By combining your password with a physical authenticator app or maybe your biological fingerprint, the attacker suddenly needs both your secret knowledge and your physical presence. And without both of those things, the vault remains forever sealed.
Let's just take a breath and look at the sheer scale of what just happened. You clicked a button. In 100 milliseconds, an armored TLS tunnel was constructed. At 500 milliseconds, a temporary claim ticket was generated. By 1.5 seconds, servers negotiated a completely secure back-channel exchange of mathematically signed passports. And at exactly 2 seconds, the app granted you entry. That is a massive cryptographic ballet, completely over in the literal blink of an eye.
I want you to zoom out with me for a second. Imagine the globe. Millions of these logins are happening simultaneously, every single second of every single day. Cryptographic signatures are firing, TLS handshakes are building tunnels, tokens are exchanging hands, certificates are verifying identities. It is this staggering, beautiful, invisible machinery just humming right beneath the surface of the glowing digital cities we all inhabit. We spend so much of our time worrying about the characters we type into a little box. But when you truly look at the architecture of the modern internet, you realize something deeply profound about how human beings have built this digital universe. Passwords were never the real key. Trust was. Mathematically verified, impeccably secured, silently operating trust. So the next time you click that button, I want you to ask yourself, who are you really trusting? And are they truly worthy of the keys to your digital life?